I want to take a moment here to talk about how to, in a free-to-play environment, take the starting contents they give you and how to approach upgrading your decks to be more competitive and where to play them so that your games are good. So let's start with where to play them. When you don't have a tier 1 standard deck, you do not want to go into ranked or traditional ranked. And, you just want to go into the play, because play sets you up to matchmake based on deck contents, not just skill level. There's some other things involved in the matchmaking, but the play queue is where the algorithm will actually look at the quality of your deck in deciding who you play against. And you're still going to find that you'll run into some better decks now and again, but it's going to be the place where you'll be happiest playing sub tier 1 decks. And so if we look at the decks, I think, okay, good. We have now, Sapling Swarm was the... Oh yeah, move the camera. Let's get out of the way. Thank you. Let's go to actually deck building, because I'm going to end up doing that soon enough. And let's see. Let's go... So this is the pack-in, and I even have one called Best Golgari that's probably where we're going to head with this, and we can even compare and see how it compares. But what you want to do, if you want to keep the original, you can clone it, or you can just edit it, but we'll clone it. And we have the Sapling Swarm 2. And so my approach is twofold, to look at what I think is weak about the deck we're looking at, and what I think is strong about the cards we have in those colors. And one way to do that is to start by looking at some of the the rares and mythics you have in those colors. And let's look at this view, a little easier to see. And then I just look for generically good tournament playables like Vraska's Contempt. Get in there. Ruin Raider is probably better than some stuff in here. We'll put it in there for consideration. Gravewalker, 5/5 flyer for 6. Also, I don't think it's exactly what we're doing. I'd rather have a Demon Lord if we did that. Maybe put in Demon Lord. GCG, what are you seeing? Growth Chamber Guardian, yep, I like it. And we got 3 of those even. J-Light Ranger. Got a lot of Incubation Druids we could throw in there, but I don't know if we're necessarily trying to do that. So you're just kind of adjusting things towards, like, more powerful cards and stuff that you see in a lot of constructed decks. And that's just pulling from the rares and mythics, you know. And the thing is, even though this is my least sourced account, it probably still has a lot more cards than someone just starting out and trying to figure out how to do this is going to handle it. But basically, you should still be doing what I'm doing. You just change your bar. But you want to get, like, all the stuff you see that top decks play regularly. Like, Freebooter is a constructed worthy card. Murder is a constructed worthy card. It doesn't really get played a lot. There tends to be better ones. Actually, for Murder, one thing you can do where you're like, I'm not sure we need Murders. I'm going to put in 1 to remind myself that it's there. Chupacabra. Like, why? I'm not going to play Murder over Chupacabra. Settle the Score as a replacement. Contempt is actually not that good, because the reason Contempt is good is because it says Planeswalker on it. So you don't want to replace Contempt with a 4-mana removal spell if you can. Kotaru, I think you're just thinking that you are, though. I mean, you're going to run into more of them. Like, I mean, if you want to try and play the game of playing the algorithm, like, one thing you can do is try to find the cards that the algorithm decides are not good because players aren't using them. Like basically, if you want to work the algorithm with what you're talking, because Kotaro is saying, maybe I played too early, but with these kinds of adjustments, I just ran straight into T1 decks when I started. And it's like, you run into cards that also have one-off powerful things, but like just because a deck goes turn 1 Overgrown Tomb, turn 2 Woodland, whatever, turn 3 Jade Light Ranger doesn't mean they're a tier 1 deck. It could be this deck, right? You know, Woodland Cemetery. Like the point is, sometimes you see things from your opponent's deck and you presume things about the full contents of their deck that aren't actually true. But it's still... but if you wanted to try and find worse competition, your angle is to try and find the best cards in Standard that players aren't using, right? The most powerful cards in Standard that aren't being played at the highest levels. Like maybe you do cut Chupacabra and run the Murders because Murder just isn't in tier 1 constructed decks and Chupacabra is. So if you wanted to bring your power level down to try and lower your matchup quality or to lower the quality of your opponents, then you could do that. But I think in general, for this approach, you just want to try and be building up towards a real constructed deck step by step and take the matchups you get along the way as they come. And sometimes they're going to be better. Sometimes they're going to be worse. We could take Fine Broker seems like a reasonable add here. All right, so I've pumped 16 cards into this deck. Now we need to make 16 cuts. And like, so the Ruin Raider, I'll cut a Death Bloom. And you risk starting to get away from the strategy that the Precon was going for. Like, they're all about making Saprolings and sacking them for value and stuff. But we're going to tone that down a bit and just be more towards the Golgari good stuff side of town. So like these Poison Tip Archers aren't as important. I don't like this right or the Spore Swarms. Path is okay. And you can't cut it all, you know. I don't mind these. These tend to be pretty good. I don't like these Dissenters, though. Little heavy still at 4. I want to cut that down. Maybe cut a Omnivore. Yeah, Whisper is pretty sketchy. We can add things too. Like maybe if we cut the, I'm fine with a single Slimefoot, but if we get rid of this Saproling thing entirely, let's look at where we have Destroy. So there's the Murder. We could bring in a couple Murders. I think Murder is like a good choice because it's just not it's not a tournament. You don't see it in Standard, but it's totally good for these kinds of decks. And yeah, Memorial to Folly is another good choice. Let's get Memorials in. I need to look at land. Oh, do we not have any? Oh, I guess we don't have any. That's possible. Like, I haven't really played Dominaria on this account, so no Memorials for us. Yeah, we're just doing an upgrade of the black-green Precon because somebody was asking about it and how to go about it. And I'm just showing my approach for this, which is to really gut it towards just Standard things we know are playable in Standard, and then filling it out from there after we kind of run out of that stuff. Like, I wouldn't mind another Gravedigger. And we could put in, like, maybe we don't have Llanowar Elves in this one. Yeah, no Llanowar Elves. But we could do some of the other ramp. We had some, where is it? The rare. Oh, we're not looking at rares, that's why. Let's look at everything. Yeah, there may be commons. Actually, let's look at destroy again. See if there's anything we want to reconsider. Not really. Okay. And then let's go back to green. Oh, and here's the Llanowar Elves. We can just take some Llanowar Elves in here. And then cut these Gravediggers I added. And maybe... let's cut this path. Sap herds are a little off plan. Let's just find some decent 3s. Maybe one of these. And is there another tender shoot? No, I don't think we wouldn't have another tender shoot. There'd be no reason for that. Just looking for kind of a better 3 now. Swift Warden, Open Form, Jade Light Ranger, Ram, no. Don't have many 3s to consider, at least in green. How about this Thorn Lieutenant? There we go. Yeah, I could craft some. I don't want to craft anything for this purpose here, but obviously you can craft anything you want in that direction. So there we go. I upgraded the Sapling Swarm deck to Sapling Swarm 2. Let's go ahead and give it a play and see what kind of competition we face. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not going to bother renaming the deck because we're just doing an experiment here. Anyway, that's how I would go about approaching upgrading your starting decks with what you've got. You just kind of go through and migrate it from where it is to include more powerful stuff. And the stickiest parts are in the middle where you can't quite fully replace the theme the deck has going in. And so you couldn't take out all the Saprolings, but you couldn't quite keep it entirely intact either, you know? We'll keep this. Maybe they'll play an elf for us. We want a guardian, so we'll play the cemetery and go get one of our guardians. Well, I guess we don't get that until we adapt, but we'll head towards that. Yeah, we'll adapt here. One problem with the all good stuff strategy in terms of matchups is that an incoherent collection of powerful cards is also going to get the same types of matchups that a coherent collection of powerful cards would get, if you know what I'm saying there. So that you're, if I made a deck with no basic lands and every tier 1 constructed playable across all 5 colors that existed in standard and ran with it, I would surely get paired with tier 1 decks. You know, that's just how that's going to work. What can we do here? Let's just get the Twilight Prophet down. But Twilight Prophet, you know, these are perfectly typed range of cards to game these matchups a little bit. Because this is a powerful Magic card, but it's just not in any tier 1 standard deck that I'm thinking about. The Esper control decks I've seen don't run it anyway. Let's see, we have No two plays here unless we want to find broker back. We can find broker back the Guardian or play a new Guardian. I guess we'll find broker back the one we've got. Although we just get another one anyway. Maybe I'll go Thallid, leave fungal infection available. 7-0! Good job, Middling Mage. Gates deck is indeed still good if you get it. Fantastic Fanatic Guru suggests going tribal to get good synergies without triggering the power level alarms in the algorithms. So that's a... Yeah, I had a pretty decent Dimir Surveil deck that got fair matchups and was pretty good. Let's see. They cannot kill, or they cannot recast the hostage, the Twilight Prophet, before we get to kill the hostage taker, so I'm not worried about that. Considering making a permanent just for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This would be 7, and then we go like 8, and then pretty soon 9, 10. Yeah. Now we can wait. We can wait. We may still actually get to use that as removal, so I'll be patient. I suppose we go like this. See if they want to make any trades, and then we murder the hostage taker. And with fungal infection, we can get to City's Blessing before we start the turn, as long as we keep all of our permanents. And we do not. But we get to find broker back our Prophet, which I assume they're going to kill here. And we'll still save the infection. Hoping to bait him into the block there, since we can infection. Now I'm thinking we might actually get this plucked from our hand with discard, but so be it. We got a nice board here. I'm just going to crash in. We're just trying to finish them off before it's too late. Thank you. At least I was basically out of your way. No annoying deck master text on screen. Thanks, though. Torzia 99, you don't know. You just have to use your common sense that, for example,